incur a possibility that some of this may have been something that Freddie Gray wanted, believe it or not. And I'm not throwing my hat in right now and saying that, yeah, there you go. This prisoner who's not named, whom was alongside in the paddy wagon, still separated by a steel partition, believes he heard Freddie Gray trying to intentionally hurt himself. I can see where he's trying to make the story go here. That here's Freddie Gray being arrested for no apparent reason that legal matters can consume, and deciding to take his revenge out by, okay, well, you guys got me. I'm going to get myself hurt here in the paddy wagon and say I was hurt during the arrest. And that would make sense if maybe he had a few bruises on his head or the shoulders or whatever. But to incur a spinal injury that caused his death, that's the kind of stretch that compares kind of to the cop in Ferguson saying that there was a struggle and that Michael Brown was a threat to his life when he shot him while he was running away. Yeah. Anyways, the incidents that have occurred in Baltimore, as I've said before, the looting, the arson, and such, unnecessary, not worthy of our attention as far as being something that's pro-Freddie Gray. This is nothing more than idiots taking advantage of the situation. The thing that bothers me the most about it was the peaceful protest kind of got lost in the enamorous pictures that were put on forth on news media of the unruly protesters and the results of the Humvees, of the Hummers, or whatever you know. I call them tanks. I tweeted on my Facebook page. They're not tanks, but they are, in lesser terms, they are tanks being driven down the streets of Baltimore, and in effect, the police and the National Guard shutting down the city. This, to me, is not a victory for the police department. The patting on the backs, the successful, peaceful takeover of a city is not something for us to be proud of. Nor should we be proud of course, the unruly protesting. But at what cost do we consider freedom being taken away, being victory? I can't see it. I'm sorry. I don't want people to die because of stupidity. I'll be the first person to tell you, no, I don't want that. But I also don't want us to resort to communistic takeovers of an entire town, entire city, not a town. This isn't Mayberry. This is not Peoria. This isn't a takeover of a small town. This is a takeover of a major city, and we've proven that we can do that now. Does not make me feel comfortable, for sure. And the fact that we seem to agree that it's a good thing. Hey, yesterday, a game was played in Camden Yards with a total, basically, of between 3 scouts and maybe 20-30 media people, and no fans in the stands. And you can understand if you listen and you watch the YouTubes and how these announcers and how these media coverage was saying that this is the first time in history, by the way, it's happened, that in a Major League Baseball game that no fans were present, that this was wrong. The players were the ones basically saying that this felt wrong. Well, I hope they feel the same way in presenting it. Look on the TV set and see at 10 o'clock at night, no adults, no children, no one allowed outside the doors. And if you don't think that's wrong, regardless of whether or not safety a matter or not, that's not right. Taking away a freedom is not right. And as far as the situation, the investigation will continue. we will learn eventually, hopefully, the facts of this case. And hopefully none of this stemmed from some dumbass deciding that he just wanted to get even with the cops. And I'm saying dumbass by Freddie Gray, intentionally hurt himself in a paddy wagon just to have a case to maybe make some money. I hope that wasn't the case. I really do. At the same time, I can't hope that the case was that the cops who arrested him did it in such a way as to harm him to the point of injuries that resulted in his death. That's not right either. So there's not a lot of rights here in the situation in Baltimore. But I laid back and not wanted to report right away, and got rewarded somewhat by this story from this prisoner in the paddy wagon, but which tells me only that there's a lot more to be learned here. There's a lot more to come forth yet, and the revealing these facts, I would hope, in this investigation will be prompt and detailed. So this has been my show, a Thursday show. A Thursday show, April 30th, last day of April, and I had a good news report. Bulls win. I didn't want all this to be downer, and I hope my platform was not a downer. I hope my platform didn't piss anybody off. I hope my platform, for the most part, could be accepted as a very solid foundation for a way for us to get out, for a way us to live, to be governed, to be fair, to never have the situation where the economy has to always be in this constant either upward spiral or downward spiral. How we can find a level ground where everyone's always doing well and everyone's always happy. Yeah, there's always going to be poor people. There's always going to be people who need. But if we can at least lessen the amount and give better wages to those who work hard, and give at least a groundwork for how you can succeed in this country that used to still be there back, then we succeed in hopefully eventually making everything fair again. So that's Patriots Watchtower for April 29th, 2015, and I hope you continue to be vigilant and you continue to stay informed. I'm Ken Woodward, and I'm out.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have the only gun on board. Welcome to Con Air.
Felt bad, worst hangover that I ever had. It took 6 hamburgers and scotch all night, nicotine for breakfast just to put me right. Cause if you wanna run cool, if you wanna run cool, if you wanna run cool, you got to run on heavy, heavy fuel, heavy, heavy fuel. Makes perfect sense. Lust and food and violence, sex and money are my major kicks. Get me in a fight, I like a dirty trick. Cause if you wanna run cool, if you wanna run cool, yes, if you wanna run cool, you got to run on heavy, heavy fuel, heavy, heavy fuel. Heavy, heavy fuel. My chick loves a man who's strong, the things she'll do to turn me on. I love the babes don't get me wrong. Hey, that's why I wrote this song. Yeah. Says I ought to be dead. When my ugly big car wanna climb this hill, I'll write a suicide note on $100 bill. Cause if you wanna run cool, if you wanna run cool, yes, if you wanna run cool, you got to run on heavy, heavy fuel. Heavy, heavy